School bus accidents and other incidents have the troubleshooters asking, who's driving the bus?
They discovered when it comes to keeping tabs on school bus drivers, the system in place doesn't always get high marks. Chief Investigative Reporter Len Bestoff joins us now with what he found. Len.
Keisha and Jerry, thousands of school bus drivers who get into trouble land on a disqualification list. We obtained a log of who checks it and how often, which remained a mystery until we started asking questions. We all expect someone is making sure our school bus drivers have the right credentials.
They need to be checking, plain and simple.
An NBC Connecticut Troubleshooters investigation has discovered that's not always the case. Our State Department of Motor Vehicles keeps a school bus driver disqualification list that includes anyone who has had their school bus or passenger endorsement suspended or revoked. One of our state's largest school bus operators, DATCO, checks the disqualification list every day.
We have somebody on our staff that's dedicated to nothing else than to checking compliance, checking credentials.
The troubleshooters learn not all school bus operators do that. A review of the 26 largest shows a third have not logged in to check the disqualification list for months, even years. State law says school bus operators are supposed to check every 2 weeks, or they're subject to fines starting at $1,000.
I take full responsibility for it.
Newington Public Schools Superintendent William Collins admits records show his district had not checked the school bus driver disqualification list in over 6 months, insisting his staff made an honest mistake.
I thought they were doing what we're supposed to be doing, and just didn't work out that way.
Collins explains his transportation staff didn't log in properly and were actually going over the same outdated list every 2 weeks since last summer.
Did you find that there were any bus drivers that were disqualified during the time?
No.
Collins says there are several issues with the disqualification list. It is long, requires a login, and staffers have to understand spreadsheet software.
Well, I'm pretty tech savvy, and I spent 3 to 5 hours trying to get into it myself.
Some operators have farmed out school bus driver checks to a third party, which is permitted. Others, like Salters Express in Simsbury, go to the DMV's public website and check the license status of their school bus drivers there. The DMV says while that complies with the spirit of the law, its public website does not have the same detail on school bus drivers, and there's no way of knowing if operators are actually checking their status. Problem is, even if operators do go to the DMV's disqualification list, the system was designed to only show the last time a school bus operator logged into the system. So there's no way of telling if they're checking twice a month.
The legislature did not require that the system be designed so there were lookbacks to it.
What's more, when this law was written a decade ago, it never called for the DMV or any other agency to make sure school bus operators were checking up on their drivers.
As with many other administrative laws, it's self-policing, and it's up to them to check.
When this law was initially proposed, the state's Office of Fiscal Analysis questioned if the self-policing aspect would work and said it was unclear how this fine would be enforced.
If you want to see how many of our largest school bus operators were checking up on their drivers when we asked last month, we have the list on NBCConnecticut.com. Len Bestoff with the NBC Connecticut Troubleshooters. Keisha and Jerry, back to you.
Len, thank you.